everyone, I'm Lauragail Locke with City of Wichita Communications. Today we have a special show prepared for you in honor of Veterans Day. I am very pleased to have two guests here with us. We have Wichita Mayor Brewer and also Fort Riley Colonel John Reynolds here with us. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, first let's just talk a little bit about Veterans Day and how grateful we are for our servicemen and women.
No, I will always bow down to the civil authority, so go ahead, sir.
Well, we're proud of the men and women, when we talk about Veterans Day and what actually, what it stands for, and, the freedoms that we actually have today, are because of the veterans that provide us that opportunity to be able to live the way that we do and the freedoms that we have. And certainly, there's no doubt that, hundreds of thousands of men and women have given their lives to make sure that we have those rights. And you see Colonel Reynolds and his men are there, and they're making sure that we continue to maintain those rights. So I'm certainly proud of the veterans and what they have actually done, and we certainly get an opportunity to celebrate those men and women that are serving our country and those that have served our country.
And Colonel Reynolds, you are joining us from Kuwait. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, first, for all the people of the audience, all the veterans that are living in Wichita and all the veterans that are living in the surrounding areas, Fort Riley, Kansas, and so forth, my praises and my thoughts and thanks go out to you for not only serving your country in the past, but continuing to serve your country forward by your well wishes, your packages that you're sending, the mail that you're sending us. It's very, very appreciative, and the soldiers really like us. So my thanks out to you. And Veterans Day means a lot to us serving, especially those that have served for the last 10 years. We have seen many of our soldiers, give up their some sacrifices in order to meet the needs of the nation, and they have done tremendous. And we continue to praise not only them, but also the family members that support them on a daily basis. So veterans are dear and near to our hearts.
Colonel, would you mind telling us a little bit about your mission in Kuwait and what you're doing?
Well, our mission in Kuwait is part of a routine effort by the Army. We send a size force, a brigade-size force to Kuwait, and we're kind of a reserve force that if in case something happens, then the CENTCOM commander can use the force to do appropriate actions. But mostly we do partnership exercises with our Kuwaiti partners, our allies. We do training, and we do activities that build a common relationship and a common understanding on how we do operations.
Can you tell us a little bit about what a typical day is like for you?
Oh yeah, the typical day usually starts not too dissimilar to what we do in Fort Riley, Kansas. We start at 05 in the morning. We get up, we do some PT, we run a couple of miles, we do some push-ups. Then we go out in the hot desert, eat our breakfast in the DFAC. That's kind of the same as the DFAC back at Fort Riley, Kansas. And then we do training. We go out to the range and we maintain our capability set to deploy anywhere we need to go when the call is made. And then towards the end of the day, around 1900 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night, we come back together. We figure out what we're doing the next day, and then we release everybody, and then they go home. The soldiers have a great ability to connect to Wi-Fi. We have Wi-Fi here, so that's kind of the way they connect and stay connected with their family members. And we have a gym, a huge gym, and that's where soldiers stay in shape. And we have the USO and the MWR here to continue to provide them an ability to rest and relax after a strenuous day. And of course we plan every weekend, not every weekend, but every other weekend, we plan trips to Kuwait City and see the great sights from the old churches, the mosques, and the malls. I mean, the malls are pretty nice. They're just like if you went downtown Wichita in the great malls, that they look just the same way. A little bit more expensive, but just the same way.
Sounds like you guys are keeping very busy. Thank you for all your hard work over there.
Thank you.
I do want to take this opportunity to I know we're getting ready for Veterans Day, and we did receive information about some movement that you guys had at Fort Riley, but we certainly want to thank you for the support that you're going to be providing us during Veterans Day.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have had, working with the Junior ROTC and individuals that have been in and discussing, our next steps and what actually we can do with Fort Riley and your men and women that are also stationed there. But we also have a group that was here just a couple of weeks ago wanting to talk to us. They're the World War II veterans, and certainly they were wanting to be involved and to, trying to find out, okay, what can we do? How can we assist, the men and women that are stationed over there? Certainly these men and women, they know, a lot about what the men and women are going through, being separated from their families and serving their country. So we're trying to work on some things with them and being able to engage them in this entire relationship between the City of Wichita and Fort Riley. In fact, I'm probably going to, and I don't want you to stay up at night thinking about this, but one of the things that we're thinking about is the possibility on Veterans Day, maybe we can Skype you back in, and I can give those World War II veterans an opportunity to visit with you.
That'd be great.
Certainly they're up in age, but they got some pretty sharp minds, and they have some pretty tough questions that they like to talk about and to ask. So that's one of the things that I'm hoping that you and I can get together, and maybe we can do something like this on Veterans Day, and we're trying to figure out how to get it maybe in Century 2. And so everyone's wanting that opportunity to talk to you guys. I mean, you've been excellent, wonderful partners with the City of Wichita, and we're certainly proud to be able to have this relationship. If I had any regrets, I'd ask myself, why didn't we start this many years ago as opposed to here within the past couple of years? And but we certainly, the citizens are getting a lot of interest and certainly proud of the men and women that are there.
Well, I know the answer to that question is because they didn't have an infantryman as a mayor that wanted to partake in Operation Crip Tia and go and slug through the obstacle courses like you did. So, I mean, that's where that partnership started, a year and a half ago on the fields of Fort Riley, where you came in and you witnessed and you observed soldiers doing soldier things. And, one of the process of getting ready to come over here is that rigorous training that Kansas provides us, the training areas, the support structure, the civilian support structure allows us to be the best force we possibly can be, and provides us realistic training. But that support structure from that you and I achieved from Wichita was phenomenal from day one. And I know we learned from both sides. Our soldiers get that words of affirmation from the population of Wichita of how great they are and how well they're doing, which is wonderful. And then we can pay a little bit back to all that support by providing folks at the parade or some food bank stuff and so forth. So I am very happy to not only have met you, but be a partner to the great city of Wichita.
Mayor, what do you talk a little bit about your experience at Fort Riley and what all you saw and appreciated?
Well, my first thing that I noticed about Fort Riley, you heard the colonel say that his men get up and they run and they do these things. But let me tell you, this guy is he's a physical model for him. He has a lot of endurance. He is in shape. So I can only imagine what they're going through having to follow him. But certainly the training that these men and women have, they train for every situation that you can possibly imagine. That they possibly imagine that actually from, the things that require them to be able to perform their jobs to even those additional things, that they have to be able to assist and to help other soldiers. And I've never seen one of the units that, they certainly demonstrate a lot of professionalism when they are at all times. I don't think I've ever seen an opportunity that I've met these guys and they're not professionals. So so the colonel has a very very tight unit, very sharp unit, and certainly highly trained. I had an opportunity to go to the desert when they were preparing to go to this training, and if you've never been there, then it's totally different because of the fact that it's the temperature and things of that nature. They get themselves acclimated. They're training. So, there is no doubt in my mind that the men and women, in his unit are they were ready by the time they touched ground when they arrived there, because they had the hot climates, and there was a couple of times I was thinking to myself, my God, how do these guys do this? Certainly when I was in the military, my mission was in Germany someplace. It was not there in the desert, and it certainly presents some additional challenges. And the men and women, they always had high morale and certainly very professional, and they certainly knew what they were doing. So I was really impressed with what those men and women are doing, and being at Fort Riley. Fort Riley, the 1st Infantry has a long reputation of being able to serve this country. Anytime there's something going on, these guys are one of the first ones that are there. So that's an impressive record.
Colonel, would you tell us a little bit more about what you do to get your brigade prepared and how difficult that must be?
Well, as the mayor talked through, just if you think about an aircraft carrier, everybody's seen them in the seas and the oceans, and there's about 5,000 to 6,000 people on an aircraft carrier. Now, if you imagine that aircraft carrier being at Fort Riley, Kansas, and that's my brigade, we lifted from Fort Riley, Kansas, moved from the center of the United States all the way to California with about 700 short tons of equipment and so forth, arrive in California, then conduct training in California within a 14-day period. And that training consisted of security operations. It consisted of working with local nationals, being able to negotiate, being able to talk with them, be able to provide humanitarian relief, to all the way to being prepared for the worst case scenario of chemical attacks or so forth. And then after the training exercise, 14 days, packing everything up, that aircraft carrier size of people and equipment, bringing it all the way back to Fort Riley, Kansas, and then within a 2-week process, then move that same stuff, equipment and personnel, all the way to Kuwait and for operations here in and around the AOR. So all done, and if you take a look at the big picture, is our nation and our people and the American people should be very proud of their Army, because we are quick, we are fast, and we can deploy from the center of the United States anywhere in the world, basically, within a couple of weeks. And we did it twice, once from Fort Riley to California, from California back to Fort Riley, then from Fort Riley to Kuwait. So very proud of the soldiers and of all of those support apparatuses that assisted us.
We're proud of you as well. How long have you been in Kuwait with your brigade?
We've been here for about 4.5, 5 months, and the soldiers of the brigade will be here for another 4.5, 5 months. We'll get replaced by another brigade that does the same thing, and the family members, we keep in contact with the family members routinely, just like I'm talking to you on Skype. We do similar Skype or FaceTime or other means of communication. That's why Wi-Fi is very, very important for the soldiers, in order to maintain contact with a family, so we don't lose our relationship with our children or lose our relationship with our wives and our husbands. And so that is a key difference between the veterans of today and the veterans of past, of the way of communicating. No longer do we have to wait 6 weeks for snail mail to get across the ocean. We get it instantaneously. I have soldiers running around with text messages, and they're texting their family, in Florida or wherever else. So it's definitely a different environment. But we're about like I said, about 4.5 months here, and the weather's great. It got really hot when we got here, 125 degrees. Now it's about 80 degrees, and we're hoping that it doesn't get too cold during the winter. I know it won't be as cold as Kansas, but it might get a little chilly at night.
Well, I know. I want to touch on something you said earlier. You talked about how much it helps to be able to stay into contact with the family, but you know, the holidays are just around the corner. So what kind of things do you guys do for the holidays, and how do you keep your spirits up?
That's a great question, and I think for all the veterans out there, they exactly know what happens in Thanksgiving. There is a turkey out there for every soldier. There is stuffing, there is cranberry sauce, there is football games, there is all that stuff that American soldiers have always done while they're deployed. We do here too, and we really love that environment, and it's a great holiday there. And then for Christmas, the same way. We have Christmas holiday periods, or to celebrate the seasons, and we have ability to communicate with our families. We bring our guests in, our Kuwaiti guests, as they come in, and we talk a little bit about our traditions, and so it's a great bonding event for the whole brigade. You know, all 3,000 of us.
Sounds like you guys have it covered.
Oh yes, it is.
I'd like to have the mayor talk a little bit about his time in the military and his service to our country now.
Oh God, that was so long ago. You know, certainly I did 21 years in the military, and it was certainly something that it was a huge impact on my life, because it certainly made me grow up a lot faster. And it's always been good for me, and certainly the military experience is good for anyone. I would tell any young person, in starting out their lives, that if you want to go someplace that can teach you a skill, that can help you as an individual, and maybe right now is not the time that you're ready to go to college, but I would encourage them, to go to the military, join the Army, and because the other portion is what most don't know is, once you get there, there's opportunities for you to go to school. And I know that there are many of the men and women that are there, they're located there, and they're still taking their classes and doing the things that they need to do. But it's certainly something that was certainly helpful and beneficial in my life, and certainly provided me a wonderful job. So I would say the military had a lot to do with making me the man that I am today. And it teaches you a lot of values that no matter what your circumstances or what your walk of life may be, that it'll teach you certain values that you can certainly be proud of. So I'm proud of the time that I've served, and it certainly was not wasted time. And if you start weighing out all of my careers, even to include being mayor, that was probably the biggest impact and probably the best decision that I ever made.
Well, we are grateful for your service, Mayor and Colonel. I'm guessing you would probably say the same thing. What caught my attention there is what the mayor is talking about is, something that we feel very proud of is the civics portion of our values and the morals that we, as those that have served, that we can come back, we can talk about things that are greater than ourselves, and then communicate that to the young children in the schools, or the young students in our high schools, or even some of the community leaders, and talk about what it means to serve, what it means to look at things that are not necessarily for personal gain, but for the benefit of others. And our civics program with the town of Wichita has been phenomenal. The food program that goes on, that we're doing, the Home for Habitat that goes on, our soldiers going down there. I know the mayor knows we had over 75 to 100 folks down supporting those kind of events, and it's a two-way street. We win because it's a gift giving, the love language of gift giving. The soldiers are able to give something back to the community that supports them, and then on the other side, it's receiving from the population, and we're able to talk about the civics piece. So I'm very happy of where we're at with our outreach program from the 1st Infantry Division and from the 1st Brigade. And anything else you'd like to encourage people to apply and be a part of your brigade and part of Fort Riley?
Absolutely. It's rewarding. I mean, there is a different type of reward once you internalize the reason why you serve. And once you've internalized those values and those ethics and those moralities, you get feedback. Not that you want it, but you get it. And you get it from the people that look in your eyes when you give them an MRE to eat. You give them when they don't feel scared anymore when they're walking down the streets. You get it when you're talking to them and they respect what the United States stands for, which is the freedom of choice, the freedom of liberty, the freedom to vote. And you know, we had the election out. That is something that not everybody else can do. And so our soldiers, when you go out into the area like we are, we show that. We represent that for our country.
I know you are both very busy men, so before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to share about future partnerships and next steps, anything that we can look forward to?
Well, I think, you know, the Colonel and I have been visiting, and also with General Funk. He and I have had a lot of discussion, and the Colonel's unit, I mean, this relationship between the City of Wichita and his brigade is a very special relationship. I mean, it's not very often when you have events in a particular city, and I mean, there's a distance between the City of Wichita and Fort Riley, and those men and women, they come here. I mean, they're here to support us and to help us, whether it's something like the Air Festival, the Flight Festival, or whether it's River Festival, or whether it's just any type of community event. Yes, and even to the extent of, you know, we had Sister Cities event that went on here, and the Colonel and his team were here, and then we had just other events. The Chief of Police's retirement, and the Chief and the Colonel was here during that time frame. So we certainly have a very close relationship, and looking at some future things that we can actually do, such as Habitat for Humanity and community things. They were going to be working with us with the Boys and Girls Club and in the Kaboom program, and building the play sets and things of that nature that was with the National League of Cities. And unfortunately, that particular group had to leave and join him. But we're just planning a lot of different things, and not to mention the fact we're doing some joint training with us and them, and talking about community policing, things of that nature. So there's a litany of different things that this particular city and our community and his unit are planning on doing to work together. And so it's going to be exciting, and it's certainly going to be beneficial for both of us, because the things that they learn from us, they'll be able to take them to other countries and be able to apply those things, and the things that we learn from them we'll be able to apply. And certainly they're changing the lives and the quality of life of the citizens just right here in the City of Wichita. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate this relationship that we've had, sir.
Anything you'd like to add, Colonel?
First of all, I'm amazed that, and I'm with Mayor Brewer. I'm amazed that this partnership with Wichita wasn't formed prior to our relationship. I mean, this is we are only 2 hours away, the biggest city in Kansas. We're very excited. We're very excited that the people there are aware that you have an active division with an hour and a half away, 2 hours away, and we really love the ability just to come out and just the air show. What a phenomenal event! Even though it's Air Force, you know, I'll buy that. But just having the ability to just see that show is phenomenal, and we appreciate the hospitality of the whole city.
Is there anything else you guys would like to add before we let you go?
The only thing I say is here, it's a little past 8 a.m. in the morning. What time is it there?
It's a little bit. It's 17:30, 5:30 in the evening. So it's time for me to go to bed, and it's time for some people in Kansas to go to work.
You'll go to dinner, and we'll go to breakfast.
Okay.
That's
well,
right.
You guys take care, and certainly tell the men and women that we said hello, and we certainly wish them safe returns, and we're going to continue working to see what we can set up for Veterans Day, and maybe we can link back in with you on Veterans Day.
No problem. Well, I think that's a great idea, and we are coming back in March time frame, so I think you're still going to be around in March. So you're obviously invited to bring down and welcome us back in a parade that we're going to have and see our families.
Well, I can assure you we'll be there.
All right.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank
Take care,
you,
sir.
gentlemen. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Take care.
And thank you for joining us for this special edition of our Veterans Day program.